Welcome to the third week of Advent and the Tuesday reading, found in Micah chapter 5 and verse 2, reads as following. But as for you, Bethlehem Ephrathah, too little to be among the clans of Judah, from you one capitalized deity, one will come forth for me to be ruler in Israel. His times of coming forth are from long ago, from the days of eternity. Now, this was written, Micah's lifetime was somewhere in the 700s, all right? So it's 700 years before Christ comes on the scene, before he is born, and it's prophesied where he is to be born. And so, a lot of things have to come together here in order for these prophecies to be fulfilled. So Joseph went to Bethlehem because he was ordered there for a census that Caesar Augustus had given. And so he had to go to his place, his hometown of his lineage, of his descendants. And that was Bethlehem because he was a descendant of King David. All right, and so we've got that happening, but we want to go further back here to about 1100 BC, when Ruth, who was not a Jew, not an Israelite, she was a Moabitess, a neighboring land, and when Naomi and her husband were in Bethlehem, there was a famine. And so Naomi and her two sons and her husband Elimelech, they left Bethlehem because they wanted to find a place where there was food. So there was a famine that was very terrible. And so they went there where they sojourned, lived for a number of years. And in that meantime, Naomi's husband died and the two sons died, and they had taken Moabite wives. So anyway, it's a sweet story, and you might want to read the book of Ruth. It's just a few chapters, and get that little bit of history. But they were in Bethlehem, and as it happens, Ruth gets married. Great story again. You need to read it if you haven't read it for a while. And they have a baby, and this baby's name. I want to go back to where Ruth is here, and just see the beauty of the last chapter. Listen to this. Now these are the generations of Perez. Well, let's go up to the verse before it. And the neighbor women gave him a name, saying, "A son has been born to Naomi." So they named him Obed. He is the father of Jesse, the father of David, and we're talking about King David. And so David is born in Bethlehem, and as the years go by, and so Bethlehem is just a little town, not too far from Jerusalem. I think it's about 6 miles, if my memory serves me. And we find in the Christmas story in Matthew, as we have all those years go by from the time of Ruth, about 1100 BC, okay? And then you've got David, he's about 1000 BC. And all this happens about a millennium before Jesus is born in Bethlehem to the Virgin Mary. And Matthew quotes that Micah scripture. He says, they said to him in Bethlehem of Judea, when the kings were wondering where this ruler, this king was to be born. And so they got the scholars out there, the Bible theologians, the scribes, and they said, well, it's in Bethlehem where he's supposed to be born, for this is what has been written by the prophet. And you, Bethlehem, land of Judah, are by no means least among the leaders of Judah. For from you will come forth a ruler who will shepherd my people Israel. And so there you have the fulfillment. A ruler would come, and this ruler would be a sharp contrast to the rulers of the day when Micah wrote this prophecy and delivered it. Um, Everybody was corrupt, from the rulers of the people to the prophets of the people to the priests to the teachers. Everybody was corrupt. And the prophets were prophesying falsely because you know what they were saying? They were telling the people exactly what they wanted to hear. And you know, sometimes when we hear a sermon, we hear some things that are unpleasant because we find we have to change and follow Jesus more closely. Well, that's the way they were, but the prophets preached what they wanted to hear. Everything is fine. No problem with sin, with this or that. Good is evil and evil is good. You see that happening in our country, unfortunately, today. So, anyway, rejoice that a ruler has been born, and that ruler is Jesus Christ. I was reading about Oswald Chambers, and on his gravestone in Egypt, where he was serving, it says simply, he believed in Jesus Christ. And there's nothing else, no big accolades as to who he was. But you know, that's the main thing of our lives, isn't it? That he or she believed in Jesus Christ. Have a good day. See ya tomorrow.